Wyatt Earp, Wyatt Earp, brave, courageous, and bold. Long live his fame, and long live his glory, and long may his story be told.
The great Alan Pinkerton won fame as Chief of Secret Service for the Union armies during the Civil War. After that, the detective organization he headed became the scourge of outlaw gangs on the western frontier. But sometimes the Pinkertons failed to notify local peace officers of their activities, and it was this neglect which brought Pinkerton into conflict with Wyatt Earp. Their mutual enemy was the Crummy Newton gang of train robbers, and neither Earp nor Pinkerton could afford to quarrel. Not with Crummy Newton and his men riding toward Wichita.
I don't know. That's why I sent for the marshal. Well, here he comes now. Well, thanks for getting here in such a hurry, Marshal. I've seen a lot of dead men in my time, but I've never seen anything like in the back room, laying on the floor.
You men get out of here. Close that door behind you. Shotgun in the face. You know this man, Mr. Egan?
A stranger to me.
How long ago this happened?
Hasn't been more than 20 minutes. We heard the shotgun go off, and I come in here and saw what happened and sent for you.
Killer must have run out the back door. I wonder what he was doing in here. Got no gun, nothing in his pockets except these numbers here. You got any money in that safe?
Not a dime. I use a new safe in my office behind the bar. I rarely use this office except for storage.
Well, open it up. Let's take a look.
I can't do that. I mislaid the combination when I bought the new safe.
I'll try these numbers.
Money? Why, it doesn't belong to me. Why, I've got no idea how it got there.
You better start getting an idea.
Mr. Earp, I swear, I know nothing about
Stop
it.
lying to me. A man's found killed in your place. There's money in your safe, and you're trying to tell me you know nothing about it?
That's right. No.
You should have closed your saloon and run you out of town a long time ago. I'm going to give you one more chance. You start talking and tell me the truth.
I did tell you the truth about not knowing the dead man.
Whose money is that? All right, you're closed. And if my word stands with the judge, you're going to jail.
No. The money belongs to him and Red Bascom.
And who's Red Bascom?
An acquaintance of mine. He asked me would I rent him the use of the safe for a few days. That man's Bascom's pal. I rented him the safe, and that's all I know.
You know more than that.
What?
You know you wouldn't rent that safe just to an acquaintance. Now, who's Red Bascom?
I can't tell you. He'd kill me.
All right, I think I know who he is. It's one of the names that Red Kelly uses, isn't it? Isn't he?
Yes.
Red's one of the Crummy Newton gang, isn't he? Dirtiest killers and train robbers out this way.
You want to get me killed?
No, not necessarily. But I didn't ask you to pal up with that kind of man.
Are you leaving the money here?
Yep. Red'll be back for it. If you don't tip him off. And if you do, I'm going to tell Newton you talk to me.
No. I won't tip him off, Mr. Earp. I swear.
Well, this time I believe you, Mr. Egan. Doc Fabrique will be over to make out his coroner's report. You keep everybody out of here.
Yes.
And I don't want excuses. I want to see Marshal Earp. I'm Alan Pinkerton, and I haven't got all day.
We sent for him, Mr. Pinkerton. We had a little trouble over at the Orient Saloon. He should be here any minute.
Probably a drunken brawl. In a properly organized police department, the chief marshal lets his deputies cover the saloon. Who's your chief court official here in Wichita?
That'll be Judge Jewett, sir.
Then please tell him I'd like to see him, Alan Pinkerton. I'd like to speak to the judge and Marshal Earp at the same time.
All right, sir. Oh, this is Mr. Alan Pinkerton, the Pinkerton, Mr. Earp.
Oh, I'm very glad to know you, Mr. Pinkerton.
Why, you're so young, you can't be Wyatt Earp.
Well, we're even. I didn't think you could be Mr. Pinkerton. Just as a matter of form, may I see your credentials?
Do you need all my papers, or would a letter from the governor of Kansas be sufficient?
Well, that'll do. Won't you have a chair?
No, I haven't the time. Merely wanted to check in with you and the local judge. A courtesy call, Mr. Earp.
You after a train robber by the name of Red Kelly, alias Red Baskin?
Why, yes, that's right.
Railroad sent you, huh? Well, I'm after him, too. He just killed one of his pals down at the Orient Saloon.
Murdered? Where's the dead man?
Doc Fabrica, our coroner, is taking care of the body.
Did you see the body?
Yeah, I was pretty badly messed up by a shotgun, but I'd say he was about 35, 6 foot tall. Brown hair, brown mustache.
Poor Williams. I've been afraid of this. He was one of my men. I had him planted in the Crummy Newton gang.
I'm sorry.
Well, it's my fault. I didn't want him to risk it. I should have ordered him not to. Williams joined the Crummy Newton gang more than a year ago. He's been with them ever since. He was going to be our chief witness, and we rounded them up. He was with the gang in the Hannibal and St. Joe robbery last week.
It's a pretty brave try I made. I aim to arrest Red Bascom or Kelly or whatever name he's using tonight if I can.
No, absolutely not. My men will be here in the morning. We'll handle the case.
I'm sorry, sir.
What?
Mr. Pinkerton, the murder was committed in Wichita, and well, we kind of like to handle our own cases.
Why, that's ridiculous. You're not a detective. You're just a cowtown marshal. You must be Judge Jewett.
Yes?
I'm Alan Pinkerton.
Oh, how do you do, Mr. Pinkerton?
Not well at all. One of my best men was killed here today.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Young Mr. Earp here says he's going to handle the case.
Well, why not?
Well, I'm just a cowtown marshal, Your Honor.
Now, don't take it wrong, Earp. I merely suggested that you lack the experience. And, Judge, I must ask that you rule him out of the case.
Request denied.
Huh?
Emphatically. Mr. Pinkerton, you have great fame as a detective, but certainly no right to come into Wichita and dismiss our marshal.
Well, thank you, Your Honor. I got an idea how I can nab Red Bascom. I guess I better be working on it. Well, Mr. Pinkerton, I'm mighty glad to be able to work with you.
And what if that boy makes a mess of it?
Mr. Pinkerton, that boy is one of the best marshals on the western frontier. He hasn't mishandled a case yet. If he blunders on this one, I'll authorize you to take over. But not before.
The old yardstick dodge, Mr. Bascom. You tie a couple of matches to the end of it. Did your train robbing pal Newton tell you never to shoot at a match flare in a dark room? Now, come on, get up. Go on.
You have a cigar, Mr. Pinkerton?
No, thanks, Judge. Never used them.
Hang on there. Mr. Pinkerton, meet Mr. Bascom.
That your man?
Yes. Well, you don't waste time, do you? Has he told you where he and Williams hid the money?
No, sir.
$40,000, Earp. It's rather important. I'll make it a whole lot easier on you if you tell me where the money is.
You find it. You're the great detective.
I'll find it. And you'll hang for murdering Williams.
Who's Williams?
I never heard of it.
Why, you...
Hold it, Mr. Pinkerton. We haven't got any proof that he murdered your man. As far as the money is concerned, I know where it is.
Well, why didn't you say so?
Look, you want just him and $40,000. You want Newton and the whole gang.
My first job is to recover the hold-up loot. Is it too much to ask that Marshal Earp turn over the $40,000?
I think that request is quite in order, Wyatt.
All right, sir, if that's the way you want it.
But you don't agree.
No, sir, I don't. If Newton finds out that Mr. Pinkerton recovered the money, he'll never come into Wichita.
We'll get him eventually. I must insist, Judge.
All right, turn over the money, Wyatt.
Yes, sir. Paul, book Mr. Bascom on suspicion of murder. Ollie, put him in cell 2.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Pinkerton, the $40,000 is in the back room of the Orient Saloon. I suppose you want to handle this yourself.
That's right, I do.
You know, I'm no great detective, Judge, but I'd still rather have Newton and his whole gang.
It's empty.
Yeah, it sure is. Makes me look kind of stupid, doesn't it?
Well, I knew you'd bungle it. Or did you?
What do you mean?
There was a small fortune. You told me you knew the hiding place and you had the combination. I'm going to have a little talk with Judge Jewett.
Yeah, you do that. Unlock it.
Questioning me is a waste of time.
Somebody took that money.
Oh, what's a trick?
No trick. You've been double-crossed, Red.
Why, the dirty Irisher. Well, nothing I can do about it.
Well, that suits me. I'm releasing you.
What?
Insufficient evidence. Go on, get out of here.
No trick.
Nope.
All right.
Paul, give him his gun and gun belt back. Ollie Taylor. I don't care what he does. Just stay out of sight and follow him.
And don't misunderstand me, Judge. I'm not accusing Earp as to the robbery hall. It may well be as he says that the saloon keeper could open that safe, and that he, the saloon keeper, took the money after Red Bascom's arrest.
Well, I believe Wyatt.
Ah, but do you think he acted within his authority when he released Bascom?
No, Mr. Pinkerton, I don't.
Isn't it true that a man arrested on suspicion of murder can only be released by a judge?
Yes.
Then Earp has arrogated to himself a judicial function.
I'm sure that Marshal Earp must have had some compelling reason when he turned Bascom loose.
All right, Earp. What reason?
Mr. Bascom is small fry, Mr. Pinkerton. But he'll get the money back from the man who took it. And then he'll lead us to Newton.
Stupid thinking.
Hold on now. If we assume that Bascom recovered the money, why do you believe he'd take it to Newton?
Because he's afraid of Newton. Means his life if he makes off with more than his share. I think he'll either try to take the money to Newton or he'll wait until Newton comes into town for the whacking up. But either way, I'll get Newton.
Absurd, a pipe dream. The money is gone and so is Bascom. And I stand here empty-handed because of your impudent effort to play detective.
Wyatt.
Tell Ollie to put 4 more guards on the hotel. Bascom just killed Egan, the owner of the Orient Saloon. Took the $40,000 and my deputies have him holed up in a room over at the Wichita Hotel.
Don't you owe Wyatt an apology?
Well, if this is true, and he goes to the hotel, arrests Bascom, and recovers the money...
Oh, shut up! Look, I want Newton and his whole gang. He's taken 10 times $40,000 from banks and trains. Mr. Pinkerton thinks I'm stupid. Well, I think he's an idiot.
Watch your temper, Marshal. I don't think either of you are stupid. I think you're both trying honestly to clean up the Newtons. You just differ as to method.
Now listen, this is my case. It always was. My men will be here in the morning and they will proceed as I say. And I wouldn't advise you to try to stop us. Good night, Judge.
Good night. Wyatt, you were on shaky ground, you know. Releasing Bascom was quite out of order.
Sir, Mr. Pinkerton thought I stole that money. I had to release Red, hoping that he'd go after it.
I've stood by you as long as I can, Wyatt.
Sir?
You mustn't have any more trouble with Pinkerton. He carries a special appointment from the governor. He can walk into any federal court and accuse you of obstructing justice.
Even when he's wrong?
Right or wrong, you keep out of his way. He's too big for us, Wyatt. I can't save you again. Good night, Wyatt.
Good night, Judge.
Ollie's got the hotel covered, Wyatt. Wants to know what to do if Bascom makes a run for it.
Follow him.
Loading the punchline special, huh? You expecting to do some long-range shooting tomorrow?
I don't know what I'm expecting.
I overheard Mr. Pinkerton say that his men would be here in the morning.
Yep.
You going to turn the case over to them?
No. But I think Bascom will stay holed up. I think Pinkerton will try and go in after him in the morning. If he does, there'll be a fight. The man I release from jail will kill a Pinkerton or two, and I'll be blamed for it. And I won't be marshal anymore. But there are more important things than being a marshal.
Good morning, Al.
Morning, boss.
Crummy Newton rob any more trains?
No, but we got a report last night that he's headed this way.
We'll take care of him later. Red Bascom's holed up in there with the money.
Hey, great work, boss. Mr. Pinkerton's cornered Red. Where's Charlie Williams?
Dead. Killed right here in town.
Bascom?
Yeah.
We're leaving up for Charlie. George, you and Mike take the back. Brick and I'll take the front. Boss, you stay out of this.
I'm not staying out of it.
You got a warrant to search this hotel?
I don't need a warrant.
Well, I say you do.
Earp, you're still stupid.
Look, Mr. Pinkerton, will you give me a chance to work this out my own way?
Now you're obstructing justice and defending a murderer and a thief.
Get out of our way.
Hold it. I warned you, Wyatt. They haven't got a search warrant.
I don't need a warrant. I'm after a murderer. And I think Earp should turn in his star.
He will. There's your search warrant, Mr. Pinkerton. I'm sorry, Wyatt.
Well, at last we got rid of the local genius, Mr. Earp.
Mr. Pinkerton, he got away. He rode off just we got around his back.
Which way was he headed?
Straight out of town on the west road.
Let's go get him, boys.
They'll get him.
Sure. If Newton doesn't ambush him.
Wyatt, where are you going?
I think they'll need a little help.
Well, he ought to be here
I was
pretty
ready
quick.
to-
I still think he'll be here soon.
Banging around here for 3 days.
Here he comes now. We were talking about you.
The Pinkertons are right behind him. We haven't even got time to make a run for it.
We'll have to bushwhack them. Hide the horses, men. Never mind the fires. Hurry up, get them on
Come
outside.
on, get him under cover over there. All right, everybody stay down now. Wait till I get all the way in.
Hurry up, get them outside.
Come on, get him out of there.
It looks like a bushwhack. Shouldn't we fire a few times and warn the Pinkertons?
No. I want Newton.
The Pinkertons will ride right into that ambush.
None of my business. Pinkerton made me a private citizen. Here they come.
Hold it. Here's their fire.
Morning, Pinkerton. You after me?
Stop it. We haven't a chance.
You'll pay for that, mister. The great Pinkerton riding into a bushwhack, just like any greenhorn from New York.
I'm the one you want, not my men.
Oh, there's plenty of time for the killing. Get off your horse. You're hoping I'll make it quick and easy, with a bullet through your head. Back away. I like the looks of you with your hands up, knowing you're gonna get a bullet in your belly.
Take a shot at me, Newton.
You killed him.
No, just creased his skull.
Well, maybe you'd better crease my skull.
Isn't worth going to jail for, Mr. Pinkerton. You can take Newton and his boys back to town.
You won't have any more trouble with Red Bascom, Wyatt.
Is he dead? Bascom brought the money into camp. He's probably hidden over there in the brush someplace.
Al, see if you can find the money bag over the brush. Let's get the cops on these men, put the wounded on the horses. Let's get back to town.
All right, boys, let's look for the money.
Hey, Wyatt, why let Pinkerton take all the credit? We're the ones that saved his life, and we're the ones that did grab that Newton gang.
What are you after, Ollie? Place in history? Most of that stuff's just written from hearsay by men that are too lazy to dig up the real facts. And so, Pinkerton's a big hero, and I'm a skunk. Who's going to know the difference 100 years from now?
Wyatt, why don't you wait until Mayor Hope and Mr. Murdoch get back from Kansas City? Or let me go to the judge and tell him the truth.
Never draw against the drop, Ollie.
Hello, Wyatt. Ollie. Wyatt, Mr. Pinkerton told me just what happened on the trail today.
Yes, I was wrong, and I'm sorry.
All right.
I don't blame you for being sore, but it seems to me when Mr. Pinkerton wants to make amends, you should be big enough to accept his offer.
Earp, I'd like to hire you for my organization at twice what you're getting here.
Of course, I'd beg you to take your star back, but we can't afford to double your salary.
$500 a month and expenses.
Well, I don't want your job, Mr. Pinkerton. First place, I wouldn't work for you.
Then take back your star, with my apologies.
On one condition.
Yes?
Mr. Pinkerton, my deputies feel that they lost out on some glory. I want you to mention their names in your report on this case.
And yours, too.
Well, I'll tell you, Mr. Pinkerton, I've done a few smart things and been cussed. I've made a lot of stupid mistakes and been praised, so I just as soon you wouldn't mention my name at all.
Well, if that's the way you want it.
That's the way I want it.
Well, he cleaned up the country, the old Wild West country. He made law and order prevail. And none can deny it, the legend of Wyatt forever will live on the trail. Oh, Wyatt Earp, Wyatt